The one who is speaking or writing. Someone aware of possessing a personal individuality.
That's all, huh?
Yeah.
Good. In fact, those who have created the dictionary, they have given some significant thought about that, actually. They have to be a little bit careful when they give the meaning of the word I. Both are really good. First one is, first meaning, Veena?
The ninth letter of the English alphabet.
No, no, okay, let's forget about it, all right? Second
Yeah,
one.
that's one.
The second one is subject of a verb to refer to a person speaking or writing.
The one who is speaking or writing.
Yeah.
All right, okay, let us look at just that. Now it is a sentence. As I told you, every word has a concept. Every sentence also has a concept. The concept of a sentence is called idea. The word idea also means mental impression only. But idea is mental impression of a sentence, or it can be of a paragraph also. But concept is the mental impression of a single term or a single word. So the one who is talking, right? Vinay? I.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking or writing.
All right. Forget about writing. Okay. Speaking. Then why did they stop at writing? The one who is speaking, writing, eating, dancing, walking, shitting, sleeping, all these are one only, Okay, speaking or writing, etc. All right. Forget about all this. It's the one who is speaking. So the concept or the idea of the one who is speaking is clear to you. Mental impression is clear, right? If people or if you are able to comprehend, referend, or the concept of most of the words and sentences or paragraphs or books, how do you approach? How do you approach solving, I would say, the puzzle of understanding the one who is speaking? Who is or what is that in you which is speaking? What is first of all speaking? Let us break it into uh, uh, terms or concepts. Okay, speaking meaning uttering words, all right?
Yeah.
How somebody utters words? By moving the vocal cords and applying a little bit of extra pressure so that the sound comes. The one or that which is doing that is the I. That's what the meaning is. Actually, that's what is said. But nobody would normally go to this level even. That which is applying pressure on the vocal cords and sounding words is the one who is speaking. Am I right? Don't you feel? The most approximate
Yes.
beating around the bush,
Mm-hmm.
that is I. Okay, easy. Finished. I is clear. Is it?
That is not clear, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That I is feeling something. If there is sadness or if there is disappointment, again, that I is feeling disappointment.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah,
No.
no,
No.
because disappointment is happening and that is aware of the disappointment. Because disappointment cannot identify disappointment itself. Some not disappointed thing only can identify disappointment. For example, when I am talking this, I am absolutely clear about the that. So what? What is the advantage?
You know the referent of that.
That's all. What advantage? I cannot talk about it. If I talk about it, I may use another word for that. But how do you know what is referred to by that word? That new word. So, in an indirect way, I am saying that the same thing cannot identify itself. So, there is a thing which is identifying all that is going on, including talking, writing, feeling, etc., 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 whatsoever. That's all, finished. Do not expect too much. Do not be in an unconscious expectation that you will come across some gigantic aspect. No, it's a very thin, tender aspect. It is so thin, micro thin. That's why it is. That's why it is present in all points of time, being aware of what is going on. Because a sensor which can identify the minimum sound can also identify the great sound, loud, much loud sound also. Ramesh, please come on the video. Because I want to see you when I talk to you. Because I am talking something very significant. You have something else to do? Because only a highly sensitive medium can sense even the minutest feeling of, minutest trace of a stimulus, right? Okay? Only a highly sensitive aspect can sense even the minor variation outside. All right?
Yes, sir.
The feeblest possible sound can be sensed by the most sensitive sensor. Am I right, Ramesh? And that sensor will sense the loudest sound also.
Right, sir.
Yes, sir.
That is all. I'm just trying to beat a little more closer to the bush. So, there is a possibility of an expectation that that so-called that, I am that, etc., that which is sensing whatever is going on, listen carefully. is a very, very, very thin material. That's why it can sense any variation outside. And because it is so thin, the dominant noise is heard by the attention. Ramesh, get the point?
Yes, sir.
The sensed sound is heard by attention. But the attention does not notice that sensor. Because there is nothing to notice in the sensor, Ramesh. It is so thin. That which is sensing everything is beyond everything. That's why it is able to sense everything. Clear?
Right, right. Yes.
Therefore, you just leave it. I mean, just you just get out of all that is being noticed. We apply a reverse strategy. That is why, for example, Ramana Maharshi said, the Pritha, not this, not this, not this, not this. To a great group of disciples, they all asked Ramana Maharshi, what's the technique, what's the methodology to come across that? Then he said, nothing. Whatever you identify as that, you say it is not this. All right. Then finally you may come across, that's all. Because whatever you sense is not that. Because whatever you sense is sensed by that. And that must be a thing beyond sensitivities. Because that is the thing that is sensing everything, Veena. Ramesh, if you have to differentiate colors, okay, the what you call the canvas should be without any colors. Am I right? Mandra Rishika also?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So this is a colorless, odorless, etc., kind of a thing. Then how can the attention which is trained from childhood onwards to notice only the colors, I mean the colors, I mean metaphorically, Ramesh, those things, etc., how will it ever be, I mean, how can it be so easy to notice that colorless, odorless, thin membrane which is sensing every other thing which a human being is sensing? Get the point? But when at a given moment, that attention which is actually apart from this, do you see, Ramesh, Amaya, Mandra, Rishiga? Attention is apart from this, Meenakshi, Anuradha, Ashwini. Do you see? That's why attention is your great power. Attention is apart from this thin thing as well as the sensed thing. Ramesh, for example, I touch your skin with a small pin, all right? And you sense a touch because there is something which is not that touch. So you notice it because of the general field of attention. So attention is the only thing you have to identify. Now we will come to identify the referent of attention once we go to the next level called, we will discuss on variant invariant linkage network. So only with the power of gentle attention. That's why if you look at all the so-called methods of incubation or meditation, you have to sit alone, so you have to sit at a relatively silent place where your attention is not trapped by other needless things. That is in order to make attention as much possible undivided and gentle. Even when the attention becomes forceful, you may not see that because it is so thin. It is so pure white. So even a drop of extra attention will make a mark there. And attention you can always train. When you do the work at office or at home, or when you are walking, or when you are talking, or when you are doing anything, you can independently become aware of. You just have to remind you, that's all. Because most of the actions you do can be done automatically. It doesn't need any attention. Get the point? So that's why I told in some other sessions that just be aware, because in the aware of the weight of the pan which you are lifting to get water from the tap. Aware meaning you can be aware of the increasing weight of the pan in your hand only if you focus your attention. That's why. And be aware of the movement of the hand. Focus your attention on the focus meaning just be aware that you are moving the hand with the water filled tea kettle from the pipe to the on top of the stove. How do you place it on the stove? Actually, you are very careful, but you do it automatically. There's a care. Otherwise, it will hit on the tripod. Okay, water will splash. Out of your experience, you just place it. So you can use certain strategies like slow movements, like that's what the people in Shanoyu do. Make your movements a little slow so that the attention can get it. Otherwise, it is almost automatic now. Because already, as I told the other day, you even when you learn violin or piano, you do not create any new movements in the hands. Get the point? You are using only the available movements. Therefore, naturally, it is not easy to feel. It is not easy to focus your attention on the movement of the hands because movement of the hands are already programmed. Movements of the thought process, it's already programmed. So it may not be that easy. So what you do, consciously you slow down the thought process. Possession of words, you change. Think when you do. Tried the other day, we, in the eccentric name of language.
Yes, yes.
Then gradually you will be more in contact with your attention. With that engine of attention, occasionally, just like that, like a blind man's blind man throwing stone at the mango tree. Just like that, try quick. What in me is noticing what I'm doing. That's all. That's again a language. You see, your internal actions are also controlled by some language. So just do a blind man's jump to know what is that which is aware of whatever I am aware of. That is the referent of the that. That's all. That. Do not think too much and get confused because of the glorified descriptions about enlightenment and very mystified ways of living of those people. I don't understand why Ramana Maharshi had to do all those things. It was very funny. He removed all the clothes and wearing just what you call a very thin cloth around his what you call penis. He just walked around with a group of ladies, men, all those things. What bullshit! I don't understand. What wrong if he wears at least a dhoti? He is enlightened. And these people, they did that because they are all basically uneducated people. Who was Ramana Maharshi? He was just a shepherd in a poor village. He had no, he was even otherwise, he has no mind-setting training to be a little bit sophisticated, whatever we name us. I am not telling that it is not good or anything. I am telling that because of that, the people became, confused. That's all what I am telling. Nothing wrong even if he walk naked, nothing, anything. Because he is beyond nakedness or anything. But he had to understand how the people are perceiving him. You look at the pictures of Ramana Maharshi. So I is that. Then when you say my, then things become different. Me. But this is just by referent reality perception only. Do not focus much on this kind of things. That also I will tell you. We have gone little deeper today because you are all very controlled. You are now ready to be taken to any level. That's why I am doing this. And to tell you, when you come near that thin material which I am talking about, when your attention approaches that, there would be a kind of an anxiety, a kind of a tension manifested in increased respiration rate, increased palpitation and things like that. Because all that sense organ sensitivities and ideas and feelings about the I, that self-image, etc., they're all similarly sensed things. And they're all neuronal networks. And your attention has been there. Your attention is stationed there. That's why I say, I feel very disappointed. I feel sad. I am talking. I am feeling. Me, my, etc. Attention is able to give that guideline to the consciousness to report it because attention is attending on those kind of things. Because they are all available things. This is after all a non-perceivable thing. So when the attention is getting out of that world of materials into a non-material and a kind of a almost a non-existent kind of a thin material, there could be a moment of anxiety and tension and fear. And when you approach that, you will feel it. Then you stop it. That it is possible that because once you get out of the materials, the contents of your minds, actually it is not sure what will happen next. That also is there as a fact. This I am always telling Meenakshi. Don't try any of these things because you have 10 more years of service. And she is so sure that she will be able to maintain. Okay, but there is actually no surety.
Well, I was also wondering about that.
Yeah.
What will
15
happen to
years.
the work relations?
Yeah, I have
So
15 years of
that's
service.
so be cool about it. We are doing referent reality analysis. When you do this at this level and height and gravity, you will get this will become more reinforced in your intellect. That's what I am doing. And I am giving you sufficient warning. Because that warning signal will tell you, don't go that far. Just stop it. Get out of. If it happens during your when you are on the bed, just get out of the bed. Stop it. I say stop it. When that warning signals of anxiety happens, just stop it and just 1 minute it is gone, finished. That's all. Don't try it now. But now you have that knowledge. That's all. Now you have that knowledge. That knowledge is what I am doing. That is enough. Now you almost clear. Your conscious sense about that is somewhat more clear. That's all. That's enough. And the referent of that also is somewhat clear. We are not going into the reality of that reference. We don't do it now. That's all. So by knowing this itself, you will definitely have the consequence of a different power. That's what I want. When you say something, it must be a statement. That's all. Whatever you need, they all should happen to you. You shall not be defeated by any of the forces in life. That's all. And that will not happen. Because that is a property of the planet Earth. I don't want to use the word universe and all that. That's the process of the planet outside, which is just extending its tentacles inside you too. That's all. It is not exclusively contained within you. That is why these people say you are the same as everyone. You are one of the universe. There is no difference between the you and the universe. They say from that perspective only. Content-wise, every one of you is unique. But that thin process, that thin sensitivity process, is a process of the universe all over the world, all over the terrain of the planet Earth. That much I know. I don't know about the universe and all that. So that is like air is spread all over around, which is invisible, which is entering into your body also. That also is entering into your body and it is present in the body. That's all. That is why it is not a part of you. If it is a part of you, you would have sensed it. That is external to you also. That is inside you. That is external to you also. That is why it can sense all the sound variations inside you. That is why it can sense all the pitch variations inside you. That's why it can sense all that feelings and of whatever range, all that emotions, all that is sensed by that, because that is not an integral part inside you alone. That antenna is actually outside. That is why it can sense all that is going on inside you. Get the point, Minashi? That's why when you sense that, you will suddenly sense everything in the universe. Those kind of little bit of interesting stuff is there. That's all. Just interesting stuff. Entertainment. Get the point, Anu?
I don't know, sir.
I asked to get you whether you don't know whether you got the point, right?
Yeah.
That which made the statement is the that. That's why it is called a gateless gate, you know. It's little difficult to talk about it. That's why it is called a gateless gate. It is there, it is there, but it is not there. You can grasp it, but you cannot. Sometimes you feel like you get it, but you don't get it. When you reflect upon that, if you understood what I told you, as that thin material which extends outside, or that which is extended outside, which is entering into you, staying there, which is sensing all that is going on, including I don't understand, I understand, I feel, etc., etc., is not a integral part of you. That's why it senses all, but it is not feeling it. If it is also feeling, then sensing is not possible. That you understood? The same thing
Yes, sir.
cannot sense it. It needs a different thing. And this thing senses everything. So that means it is different from all the possible, probable range of that you sense. It is because that is not an integral part of you. That is an extension of the antenna of the that nature process. If it is a part of you, then again you will sense it. Then what will sense that?
What is sensing that disappointment then?
Yeah.
It's another thing.
All these are by the same thing. It senses disappointment, it senses you say I am happy. You say I am sad. You say I am confused. You say I understood. You say I don't understand. You say I feel this, I sense that, I know this, I feel this, I get all these things, okay. So that I aspect is totally different from all that is being sensed. And that part is not an integral part of this. In which case you will not be able to do that.
Master,
And that is so thin, that's why I said. It can sense even the slightest touch of an emotion or an idea or a thought or whatever it is sensing. Whatever that is sensing. Yeah, yes,
But,
Meenakshi.
sir, but the. Oh, Meenakshi, please carry on.
no, Veena, you finish and then I'll ask.
Okay, thank you. Like if a sensor senses heat or variation in temperature, that variation in temperature has to happen somewhere. No? The sensor part I understood. That is that thin
Yeah.
membrane you are talking. What about the temperature changes that is coming in? Where does that come in? The disappointment, that anger, or sadness, or whatever.
That's all trained process of the intellect or autonomic nervous system. That's all we understood. Like, for example, forget about I touch you with a pin and the neuron is sensing it and you feel the pain. You say, I feel pain. That I itself does not have pain. Okay? That pain sensitivity is a work of the neuronal process in case of physical pain. Same is the case with I. You say, I understand that. So that understanding happens and that I senses it. But that I is such a very thin thing, you don't sense that I itself. Because that I is the sensing agent. The sensing agent cannot sense itself. You get the point, Ganesh? That's all.
Oh, yeah,
We
yes,
can
sir,
talk
yes.
like this, but you have to do the I am just talking again language. You have to get the referent of that. The referent of that thin material which registers everything else. That is the thing which registers everything else. So what will register that? Get the point? Like who will bell the cat?
Right.
Once again, that only senses whatever is sensed, including physical pain or emotional, mental pain or psychological pain or intellectual understanding, intelligence, etc. All these things are sensed by the that. And what will sense that?
Right.
That's why you need the trick of attention. So, by some hook or crook, by a twist of the attention, you just get a sudden glimpse of that. That's the only possibility. You cannot be there continuously. Only Buddha has talked about being with that continuously. He talked about nirvana, etc. I don't know. But he talked about it. But Buddha died definitely because of real food poisoning, because of the poisonous food given to him by somebody. It was poisonous meat of some pig or something like that. That's how he died. It is the principal who is punishing all the students. Who will punish the principal? Let us say school is the whole world. Principal is the supreme authority. Principal is punishing every child. Who will punish the principal? Similarly. Thermometer is sensing the temperature. What will sense the thermometer? Something like that.
So will using third person language help?
Oh, definitely, yeah. That's a good question. Continuous use of third person language, but with whom you will use it? Majority of the time you have to use the first person singular.
No, when you're by yourself, when you're referring to.
At least that. But again, that is only certain percentage of the time. But the other percentage of the time, you are again using the other one. But in that case, you can achieve it, and once you access it, then you can be anything, of course. But when you use that third person language to refer to that, your attention has to be very carefully driven to locate what you refer to by the third person. You have only changed the name of that from I to he, for example.
I was thinking the other way also.
What?
Which is Ganesh is feeling hungry.
Yeah.
Instead of I am feeling hungry.
Yeah, that can help to a great extent, of course. That is how, if you remember, every child start talking like that only. Every child. Gradually, it realizes the so-called meaninglessness of it by the clues and cues from the environment. Even when you use these strategies, your should be constantly the torch of attention should be constantly monitoring. Then only that thin material can be noticed. You might need a separate attention gear. Attention should operate almost independently with that exclusive assignment of noticing that. Because attention is a victim of the training from early childhood onwards to notice Only those things with a contour, with a boundary, with some stuff, that which is sensed. For example, in depth psychology experience, people will be put inside a chamber where it is completely dark and complete sound is cut and internal environment is controlled, that none of the senses will get any data. Then individuals come out and report. They have some kind of a button in their hands to press an alarm button. Nobody would continue to stay there. Or they will go into deep sleep. With awareness, it is not possible. It is very difficult. It is very threatening. Because then only we realize that all our ongoing what you call sustaining of that body image, or that the you in you, the I in I, is also supported by continuous data signals from the environment. You feel the air body around. You feel some kind of a sound is all the time there. Some kind of a thing is there all the time to look. Otherwise, you are asleep. You are closed eyes. So all these anchors are also maintaining that self identity, self sensitivity, or self sense, or that identity, that organism. This particular organism's boundary is maintained by that sense data. Even when the sense data is missing, attention is in trouble, Because attention is all the time comfortable in one or the other, or two or more of the senses. Or at least on the body feeling. And attention has a primary tendency to simply wander, shifting. It is continuously shifting. So even if the body is there, it will not stay on it for a longer time. Again, it will get worried. It will get kind of there's a kind of a vacuum feeling. There are a lot of reports on that. Actually, I have read it some time back. People will feel suffocated. That's what they have used. Last, there is no air. There is air, of course, but still they feel there is no air. Most of them will feel anxiety, tension, etc., etc. Because continuously we are maintained by sense world. Whether we are aware or not. So that's all. So the purpose of this meeting was to get a little more reflective attention on conscious sense and the truth of reference and the force of all the words that we use. You have to train your attention to continuously monitor the ongoing film of actual reference indicated by the language of other people, or the language of the book that you read, or the language of the ongoing thought process in you, which is a little more complex. Because if the word outside, if the word that you use, chair, has a referent, what about that ongoing stream of consciousness when you're alone, when you're about to sleep? Or when you're sitting just like that, without talking or anything, there's a running stream of consciousness, which most of the time filled with words. Just the words. Occasionally remember to consider the reference of those words also. All of you are okay? Is there any unnecessary
No, sir.
feeling?
No, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. You feel cool, or you feel little bit worried, or you feel very out of focus or something like that? No, you're cool, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Having reflected, having attended to this kind of languages and concepts of that, uh, just to keep a glass of water near your bed today. All right, as you go to sleep. As you go to sleep, whether you feel it or not, if you wake up in between, just to take a sip, 2, 3 full sip of water. Because I feel a feeling. Because I have to see that and report it. Many times in between, my heartbeat went up. My body is not feeling actually very comfortable. Actually, there is a discomfort. Yeah,
There is a tiny bit of restlessness, sir.
yeah. What did you say? Restlessness, huh? Ganesh, you feel
Yeah.
that, or you just told about me?
No, no, no. I feel it.
Yeah, I
You
too
feel like
feel.
taking your
That's
body a
a
little.
correct word. Correct word. Exactly. I feel, for example, also, Ganesh, that I have talked something unnecessary or talked to something. Let's say if I talk to some vulgar language, how it will be. Something like that. I talked something out of the context or unnecessary things or some foolish things or no.
Uh, no, Master, you spoke complete sense, and it was such a wonderful class. And I'm completely cool, and I'm wondering why I don't feel restless.
You are wonderful, Vinesh. You are already the last 4 months alone. You were alone, taking care of virtually a dying father. Okay, and you were doing entire thing of the cooking and taking care of him, which not even a nurse would often feel comfortable to do. So you have tempered your sensitivity is very high. That is why. Anyway, I feel very uncomfortable. I have some feeling in my abdomen, like like for example, I don't. I raise my sound. For example, sometimes if I get unnecessarily angry with the mantra or I feel a little bit of a funny feeling. I should not have done that. A kind of that's what I feel. When I first felt it, then only I remembered to give you a warning. When that attention gets out of the constant terrains, there's a disconnect happens. Like the plane taking off from the ship, because there is little runway. Despite its great force, as it leaves the boundary of the ship, it just dips and then takes off. So that is for sure. So when I was talking to you, I was continuously having that dip. The correct word, I was surprised. I was searching for the correct word. Then Ganesh provided that correct word. I feel just restless. Correct. I feel like taking 2 pegs, Ganesh, but some
Cheers
2
to
pegs
that,
of
sir.
brandy. Then it will be okay. In fact, I remember, when I was at auxiliary, I was completely under the guidance of a Zen master. He only took me to the word of Zen. Of course, I did it very genuinely. And then I realized that I had to be my body a little bit clear. So I stopped. No, the smoking I started around the age of 14. I never stopped it, but I stopped it. At that time, I stopped smoking. I, I started eating minimum, and 5 6 days. I told you at that time I had another wife and child with me. So evening 6 o'clock, I came my home, parked the scooter, climbed the stairs, and knocked the door. Then a girl opened the door. I thought, who is this girl? It was so-called my daughter only. I genuinely felt something wrong. I said, wait, I will come back. I stepped down, I took the scooter, went out and purchased a half bottle rum, came home, took one bug, clear. Everything is. So then I realized that we need some kind of a poison in the body in order to be anchored in this normal life. The Ayurveda also talks about that. If I stop smoking for 3 days, I am just out of the world. And is it wrong? Is it right? Nothing wrong. But as I told you, as Nitya also pointed out, uh, when we take off, we don't know into what will happen next. We're actually not sure. And now we may feel we will definitely come back and we will continue to do the work and do all those things. But after that, we are not sure because the normal mindsets would have lost its control on our expressions, on our responses, our behaviors, our actions, our relationships, our language. Because all these things are, all this building has been constructed over years. Okay? Building with its rooms of knowledge, with rooms of awareness, rooms of attitudes, values, knowledges, mindsets, etc., 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 etc. We go out of that building. Then this of course I am talking about the referent of so-called Satori. That's all. Knowledge. Okay, wonderful. Let us come back to the master cook. Master cook is I depend on my friendship with the master cook, the master woodcutter, and the master thief. They are the most beautiful people. With all wonderful experiences, they continue to remain what they are, like the Zen masters. With all the awareness, you continue to do whatever you have been doing. Whatever consequences happen, they will all be very advantageous, and you will never be in trouble. I mean, continuous trouble, normal troubles because we are how we should have our economic relationship with the world. Unlike in the past, nobody will give you free food. So that's all. Though I say all these things, I want every one of you to reach the pinnacle of your job positions or your otherwise ambition because I wanted your kind of wonderful people to be involved in the economic activities of the world. So when you're thorough about that, you will be there. That's all, Nitya. Okay. Reinforce that. You are needed. People like you are needed. For that, whatever little world where you are, never be bothered about the whole world. Nobody can do anything with the whole world. Your world is wherever you are. Your house, your job environment, the road where you walk, the road where you drive. That is the real operating referent of your world. Other world is there, so let it be there. Like the torch beam, wherever the torch beam goes, that is your world. You are a torch. Wherever you are beaming, be there. Be clear about it. That's all. Finished. Then you will be there.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
All right. Best of luck,
Thank you.
every
Thank
one
you,
of
sir.
you.
Thank you, Master.
Wonderful people.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night,
Thank you,
everyone.
I
sir.
wanted
Good night.
to, I thought I will definitely stop this at 10 o'clock. Because I'm constantly, I don't know, I'm constantly worried about this lady, Nitya.
Don't worry
I
about
I
it.
lose my freedom, because I am, that's the problem. I can feel sort of the situation of other people. Even when they don't feel it, I feel that situation.
Thank
Because
you.
I am comfortable with every one of you. By the time it is more than 2 hours, a certain worry captures me. All right, wonderful.
Okay, sir.
By the way,
Thank you.
Ganesh, the grandmother of Vinay Lal, the most beloved person for Vinay Lal, she died yesterday at 9:30 p.m.
Everything just like
And even before 24 hours of that death, he was here at 8 o'clock. She died at 9:30 p.m. yesterday. That's all. That is the basic calmness, basic steadiness of the direction of the ship, unperturbed by the turbulence. Turbulences, of course, you cannot control,
Yes, sir.
but you can always have the control on the radar of your movement. That's all. Finished. That's all. All right. Good night to you.
Good night. Good night, sir. Thank you. Thank you,
good
sir.
night, sir.
Thank
Good
you.
night, all.
Good night,
Thank
all.
you, sir.
Bye.
Good
Bye
night,
all.
everyone.